We love food, but we don't go to the market. What is the secret behind this?
Kalilu.com.
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 Yes, Kalilu.com. Your friends, parents, and spouses in Europe and America.
My boss in China sends me cash power through Kalilu.com, and this makes life easier.
My Danish lady sends me money, which I immediately pick up from the bank, all through Kalilu.com.
It's my birthday. My brother in Spain just sent me food credit through Kalilu.com.
Rice, cooking oil, and all groceries can be bought online through Kalilu.com and shall be instantly delivered to your doorstep. With Kalilu.com, your loved ones save and you still get more.
The days of limited access to quality medications and healthcare services are long gone, with InnovaRx Global Health ushering in a new era of healthcare delivery in Africa. IGH now offers an all-inclusive care plan designed to provide a comprehensive management of chronic diseases, such as diabetes, hypertension, and other ailments that require close monitoring and routine medications. Our global clinical team leverages technologies such as point-of-care diagnostics, telemedicine, Agastha cloud-based electronic health record system, and electronic prescription processing of FDA-approved medications to effectively manage patients and produce positive health outcomes. The plan provides a peace of mind to patients in the Gambia and their loved ones who may sponsor from overseas by providing 4 free prescription medications a month, 4 diagnostic tests a year, free Wellness on Wheels delivery from Banjul to Basse, 10% off all products and services, all for a price less than a cup of coffee a day. D, $38,050 a year. Flexible payment options available. Why travel abroad to receive quality healthcare anymore when IGH can bring the quality you deserve to your doorsteps? Sign up today by calling 220-232-4224 or emailing careplans@innovarexglobal.com.
Good afternoon and welcome to the GTA Gambia Texas Association Labor Day weekend. All right, today we're here just to come back together and bring another year of the Gambia Texas Association Labor Day weekend. I'm just going to go briefly and give a little bit of introduction about what the agenda is going to be today and what we have powered for you today. The Gambia Texas Association is a nonprofit organization, and for the past years or so, Dallas has been a destination for the Labor Day weekend. Since the Texas Association has started this event and embarked this journey several years ago. Many of the Gambian community come together in one area, which is Texas, annually and enjoy this moment and share and participate. One of the things that is really critical about what this is, the Gambia Texas Association use this weekend as the Labor Day weekend to promote really the community cohesiveness, togetherness, as well as also to provide platform for Gambians and friends of the Gambia, of course, in exchange of ideas, to network, to build lasting professional relationships. And GTA has used this event also to raise funds. These funds are used to help the community, both locally as well as back home. Yeah, as we all know and we are aware of what's currently happening, some of the challenges. It's very uncomfortable for all of us. The COVID-19 is a global health issue as well as an economic crisis, unlike anything that we've ever seen before. It affects everyone individually, as well as we strive to keep ourselves and our families safe and adjusting to the new ways of working and living. The GTA community has put together this event to bring people together, to remind us that even in the challenging times like this, we still need to come together as one. We're also doing a little bit of fundraising as we go between the segments. We'll be sharing some links and some information into what the things that are going to be, how you can share or how you can actually donate, things like that. So please stay tuned onto that and then allow us to provide some more data. We are powerful speakers today, guys. This is going to be really exciting and really interesting. So this is a 3-hour agenda today. We start from the top. We have our keynote speaker. We have different members of the community that are joining us and speak about their journey. We also have a panel, a powerful panel. It's going to be moderated by Fali Kora, one of the GTA finest. We also have Dauda Fadera, who's the ambassador to the ambassador for the Gambia in the U.S., including presidents of different 3 states. It's going to be Binta Mane. You have Hadi Jallo, as well as Bambasana, who's the president of GTA, come together. We'll be talking about currently what we're doing, the things that have already been done, and how we're reaching out to the community as well. We'll then have different perspectives from Simon Mendy as well as Sekou Kamara. Simon will talk more on the businesses and how his business evolved due to COVID-19 and how he really begins the business as a perspective. From there, we'll go to the fun stuff. There's, as we know, every time when you have a GTA event, there's no GTA event without fun. So we have Jolly Mali, who'll be playing a fantastic live acoustic song for us through Facebook Live. And then we'll close it with Pop Joe, who's sitting right now and waiting to begin and give us the live performance as well. So we thank you all. And with that said, I'll be moving forward down to our keynote speaker. And I'll be doing a quick introduction here and bringing some of the members of the panel also to the stream. And then we'll begin. Wanted to talk about our keynote today quickly. I welcome our keynote speaker, a Gambian brother, Rene Carrion, world-leading executive coach and a speaker. He also is the best-selling author of the Leadership and Culture Bible. We call it the Corporate Voodoo. Another thing that recently I read is the book called What Are You Great At? It's a Spike. It's very interesting phenomenon, really. If you haven't, you might want to look at that. He had the privilege to work closely with a lot of world leaders, as well as I've just named a few. Bill Clinton and others. He's also been CEO in many organizations. So with that said, I welcome Rene Carrion, our keynote speaker for today.
Mustafa, thank you very much indeed. It really is a privilege to be here today. I'm here in London, which is probably one of the oldest Gambian diasporas outside of Africa. And if I take you back to just contextualize our conversation today, my parents came over to London in the early 1960s. This was a very, very tough.
Yeah, Mr. Ambassador, we're going to need you to mute your phone or your computer.
Okay. So my parents came to London in the early 1960s. It was a very, very difficult place. And Gambians in London at that time were humble, maybe too humble. And I remember one of the earliest experiences I had with my parents on my very first day of school. My mother, like many other well-intentioned immigrant mothers, as I was skipping out to go to my first day of school, she said to me, "You just remember, you be twice as good as that white boy sitting next to you." I didn't know what she meant. It didn't really mean anything to me. I just ran to school. I got in my classroom, the teachers came in, I was so excited. I wanted to learn. I wanted to grow. Halfway through the day, I remembered what my mother said to me. You be twice as good as that white boy sitting next to you. We lived in one of the most difficult parts of London. We didn't have the resources to go to one of the great schools. The school I went to, when I looked around, there were no white boys in the classroom. And my well-intentioned mother, wanting me to be the best that I could possibly be, was in danger of giving me an inferiority complex. Today, the world is very different. I couldn't begin to tell my kids that they need to be twice as good as anyone. They are programmed to be the best that they can be. And we're lucky today, we're privileged today that our children can do the things that our parents were not able to. And we mustn't forget that. So I've got two messages for you today. I spend my time really advising first appointment chief executives, the only job in the business, in the organization, there's no development or training plan for. The day you're appointed chief executive, you've never flown the plane before. It's the toughest job and maybe the best job in the business, but there's no development program for it. And I spend my time sitting in the cockpit, waiting for the new chief executive to turn up so I can show them how to fly the plane. And I've been privileged enough from humble origins to be able to do that all around the world with some of the best Fortune 500 companies, the best FTSE 100 companies. And last week, I got a really good piece of news because one of my clients is Andrew Holness, is the Prime Minister of Jamaica. He called a snap election last week and won a landslide victory. So from humble origins, we can be who we want to be. But I want to give you two messages, I think, to take away today. When I first spoke to Mustafa and he invited me to come and speak to you, I looked online at the Gambian Texas Association. Extremely well organized, really well put together. I was very proud and very privileged to be giving you a talk today. When I look at where my parents started out in London so many years ago, they never had that organization. They didn't have so many people coming together supporting each other. You're doing something very special. It's now time to take it to the next stage. The two things I want you to think about. Number one is leadership, not management, not academia, leadership. And the second thing is mentoring. Looking out for someone who's on their journey, enabling them, supporting them, looking after them, looking out for them. I've yet to see any successful leader who's got to that position without the help and assistance of a mentor. So the first piece of advice is the biggest myth in Western developed society is that leaders are only at the top of the organization. It's nonsense. Leaders are everywhere. Everyone on this call can be a leader if they choose to be. The biggest question I get asked all the time when I'm out coaching, when I'm helping others, is a leader's born or a leader's made? There's been a lot of research about this, but I put it to you, neither. Leaders are not born. Leaders are not made. Leaders are found. Our job is to go and find them. Let me be very clear about this. It's not about the cleverest person in the room. It's not about academia. It's something very different. There are leaders all around us, and their job titles, they may not be called chief executive, they may not be managing director, they may not be president, they may not be vice president. They may be receptionist. They may be driver. But they can still be leaders. And the bit I would ask you to do, if you want to find those leaders who are going to help us today and tomorrow, look for those who can influence and persuade without authority. That's leadership. Those who can influence others to follow them, to do things, to think bigger. Those who can persuade others to do the things they never thought they could do. They're the first signs of leadership. And let me be clear, when I say leadership, I mean vision, people, teams, culture. Vision, people, teams, culture. We call it the software. Versus management, which is strategy, tasks, plans, KPIs, all the things you can measure, which we still must do, but it's management. And far too many of us coalesce and obsess around management. It's important, but it's the hardware. In times of crisis, in times of change like COVID-19, it's the leaders we need. And we will know that if we don't manage, we'll go out of business tomorrow. But management alone will not get us there through something that's so different, unrepeatable, unprecedented like COVID-19. We need the leaders. And we call management IQ, we think it. Leadership EQ, we feel it. And the big thing about leadership is that empathy, that emotional intelligence. And Maya Angelou sums it up beautifully. Not everyone remembers everything you said, but everyone remembers how you made them feel. That's the leadership piece. And I've been very, very lucky that I've been blessed to have some of the most magnificent mentors. Unfortunately, when I looked around for someone who was going to help me, who was going to mentor me, I couldn't find that Gambian. I didn't always find someone who was black. I didn't find someone who was of my faith. But I found someone. And someone found me. And I've been blessed to have people right through my career who would give me nothing more than an hour a month, an hour of their time, to look out for me, to give me feedback, to criticize me, to challenge me, to support me, and sometimes to go on to open doors for me. When I did things that weren't appropriate, they told me. They showed me how I could be better. Now, through all the technology we have today, I'm lucky enough to be mentoring maybe 30 to 40 individuals. I give them an hour of my time once a month, and I help them on their journey. I ensure that the mistakes I made early on in my career, they're not going to make the same mistakes. And there was a time in your career when you didn't quite believe in yourself, when someone took a moment just to look out for you. I want every one of us to take a moment to look out for someone else. Someone we're a few chapters ahead of in our journey. Someone that we can reach out to, someone that we can look out for, someone that we can look after. It makes all of us stronger. So let me just be clear on the two messages. It's about leadership. And you know what they say? There's only one thing worse than no leadership, and that's poor leadership. Good leaders create followers. Great leaders create leaders. Our role and your role in the Gambian Texas Association is to create as many leaders as we can. If there's one thing in my career when I look back at with all the opportunities, all the great people I've had the opportunity to work with, if there's one thing I wish I could have done differently, I wish I found a mentor earlier, and I wish I found someone who was going to tell me about leadership, give me a leadership opportunity, and move to where I could possibly be. And Africa's challenge, Gambia's challenge, we have technocrats today. We have academics today. We have successful businessmen and businesswomen today. It's completely transformed. We have so much going for us. Our biggest challenge and the challenge of the continent is, can we identify more leaders? Can we groom more leaders? Can we grow more leaders? Our path to success will now be about leadership. And I just leave you with that thought, all of you. It's been a real pleasure to talk to you. Enjoy your Labor Day. And let me leave you with the final closing message. If you're bold, you might fail. If you're not bold, you will fail. My name is Rene Carriel. It's a real pleasure to have had the chance to speak with you. And I've said to Mustafa, my latest book, which is called Spike, I will make available as an audiobook for everyone who's online at the moment. I'll liaise with Mustafa tomorrow. We'll make it available. We'll have it sent to you first thing Monday, Tuesday. It's been a pleasure having the opportunity to speak with you. Thank you very much indeed.
We thank you, Carol. I appreciate you joining us. This was a powerful message.
My pleasure.
All right, guys, we'll go on a quick break and then we'll be back with the next segment. All right, thank you guys. I know that we have most of the panelists and the speakers that are going to be online today, so I would like to take this time to welcome the speakers and the panelists. We have Bamba, we have the ambassador, as well as Binta. And then I think the next segment we're going to have is we will be having Fundraising active. Will be host. We'll have one of our hosts to introduce Farmer, which is Aisha. All right, guys. So we apologize for the time. We'll just begin with going down with our agenda here. So we'll start with Farmer.
Hello, my name is Aisha. I am delighted to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Fundraising, the founder of Yerewa Mega Foundation. Yerewa Mega Foundation is dedicated to healing, improving, and advancing the health and quality of life of undeserved and vulnerable people in rural communities in the Gambia. As a registered nurse with over 15 years of healthcare experience, Mr. Singate understands the value of high-quality healthcare. Please help me in welcome Mr. Singate.
Good afternoon, Texas. Good afternoon, GTA. Thank you for having me today to join you as part of Labor Day Celebrations 2020. I'll be talking to you today about our nonprofit organization, Yerewa Mega Foundation. It is a nonprofit organization based in Texas. We're also registered in the Gambia as a nonprofit organization. The organization's mission is to improve the quality of life of people in developing countries, particularly the Gambia. As you all know, the Gambia is a place where healthcare is very poor and the delivery system is not up to par. Our foundation is involved in medical, surgical care, and education. We're also involved in partnership with other teaching hospitals in the US, mainly in Texas, and other nonprofit organizations. The organization is also involved in the solicitation of medical equipments and other types of medical items for the purpose of our medical program in the Gambia. Presently, the organization is involved in the construction of Yerewa Clinic, which is a state-of-the-art medical facility that is going to be built in the West Coast region of the Gambia, a population of about 600,000 people and counting. As you know, West Coast region, healthcare is very poor down there, and the facilities down there are barely non-existent. So as a result, our foundation came in with the help of our board-certified surgeons and physicians in the US. We are building this clinic to help the people of not just Birkama but the Gambia, to help improve maternal mortality rates and infant mortality rates. The clinic that we are building is in the Kembuje area, Birkama. We are building, it's divided into several sections. And the first section is the theater room and the postpartum maternal unit. The other sector that will be assisting, or part of that, is also the outpatient that will be focusing on primary care prevention and wellness, which will also be supported by ancillary staff and administrative functions as well, and which is this clinic. The current part that is being built is called Phase 1, and Phase 2 is also in the plans. So literally we are right now at the lintel level of the clinic, where you can say that we are at the place where you can say roofing is about to be started. We also are going to be looking at, painting, plastering, equipment, parts of the plumbing sector and the electrical wiring, the ceiling as well. So if you want to know a lot about the organization, you can go to our website, yeriwah.org, which is YERIWAH.org, where you'll find a lot of information and tons of information about the organization, the work that we are doing, and how Gambians can help. Gambians and non-Gambians can help in terms of donations through our website or through our Facebook page. We are also on Facebook. And so, in a nutshell, this is what we are doing currently in the Gambia and how you guys can help. Again, I am very grateful, and on behalf of Yerewa Mega Foundation, thank you for having me join you guys to improve our community and to improve Gambian people's life. Thank you again.
Thank you, Famara. That was powerful. This is definitely really great, and I think we'll take a look at that. So I think next we have Aji, who's going to introduce our next guest speaker. Bamba, as we're saying, we're definitely ahead of time, team, so that's really good. Make sure that we're able to have the conversation and share this information with the community. Aji? Adi, and I'll unmute you. Adi, you muted.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 2020 GTA Virtual Labor Day Holiday Fundraiser. Up next, we have Aissatou Diouf. Aissatou Diouf holds a master's degree in healthcare administration and bachelor's in electrical engineering and nursing. Fondly known by her colleagues as an engineer, her great passion in nursing is equaled by her uncanny greatness with numbers. She brings in more than 16 years of extensive, comprehensive elder care experience in several capacities and increasing responsibilities. Aissatou currently serves as the CEO of CPR Connections and also CEO of Lone Star Care, visiting caregivers, serving the DFW with her caring heart. So, which Aissatou speak right now, coming up. We welcome you, Aissatou Diouf.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aissatou Diouf, and I'm the CEO here at Lone Star Visiting Caregivers. It's a non-medical agency, and we serve the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex with home care needs. I want to thank GTA for inviting me today to share my story, how I moved from a bedside nurse to a nurse CEO. And for me, it all started when I took my lipstick and wrote my dream on my bathroom mirror. Yes, and I call it the lipstick on the mirror. The lipstick on the mirror. A little story about that. When I was doing my master's in healthcare administration, we were required to sign up with a professional development class, and I went with National Nurses in Business Administration. And the reason I chose them was that I was just fascinated with the idea of nurses being in business and not being at the bedside performing patient care. So when I signed up with them, about 2 weeks later, I saw on Facebook that they were having a seminar in Vegas. And I said, why not? Let me kill two birds with one stone. I've never been to Vegas. So I went in, and during the pre-conference sessions, that's where I met my mentor, Stella. So Stella basically used me as a guinea pig during her conference, and I stood in front of the class, and the class actually chose the agency name for me. They chose Lone Star Visiting Caregivers. They chose my resignation date. We did a lot that day, and I just went with whatever was done that day. I thought that there was a purpose for it. So Stella challenged me to come back home and resign within 6 months. Not only did she challenge me to resign, she challenged me to take every Friday off for the next 2 months so I can take a class with her that would help me shift the way I think. She wanted me to start thinking like a businesswoman. So that's exactly what I did. I came home, took my lipstick, wrote this resignation date on my mirror, and every morning I stare at it laughing because I didn't know how I was going to resign within 6 months. I needed a paycheck. I needed my job. So long story short, taking this class with Stella really was a pivotal point in my business career because it really helped me think differently. And that's one thing that's really crucial if you have to be a business person. You can't think like a 9-to-5 folk. You have to change the way you think. You can't be afraid of the future. You can't be afraid of losses down the road. Mistakes are going to happen. You just have to embrace them. So Stella helped me basically after that class to open up the agency. And frequent questions I get is, do you have to have a loan to start an agency? Well, not with non-medical. You really don't have to because the overhead is not that much and you can pay as you go. Another thing they ask me is, do you have to know every aspect of the business? And I tell everybody, no. When you first start, you're not going to know every aspect of it, like how to do this, how to enroll people, how to do a criminal background, how to run payroll. You're not going to know all that. But you're richer than you think. There are people around you that know the answers to these questions. GTA is a perfect example. We have a lot of talented people that you could tap into and get your questions answered. They'll help you. Don't be afraid to ask. And if you don't know what to do at all, I would suggest hire a mentor. It saves you down the line. It's either you pay upfront with a mentor or you're going to pay later down the line with a lot of mistakes. Okay? So that is my final message. If you have a dream, if you want to change your life, take a lipstick, put it on the mirror, stare at it every day, and make sure every day before you go to bed, ask yourself, what have I done today to get me closer to my dream? If you haven't done anything today, make sure you do something tomorrow. It is achievable.
Oh, thank you. That's powerful. Once again. So guys, we're just gonna go through quickly. Everyone, go through our sponsors. As you know, today this GTA is sponsored by some of our sponsors, which is Kalilu.com, Innovax. We have Stow International Transfer as well as SafeBridge. But more importantly, Aldi's, the Afro-Bean restaurant in Dallas. So we'll just give back to them and say thank you for sponsoring this event, for making this happen. And we'll give a little bit on their sponsorship videos, and then we'll come back with an introduction host to the ambassador, Mr. Ferreira, and then our next moderator, which is Fali. So we'll go through some other commercials, and then we'll come back.
The days of limited access to quality medications and healthcare services are long gone, with InnovaRx Global Health ushering in a new era of healthcare delivery in Africa. IGH now offers an all-inclusive care plan designed to provide a comprehensive management of chronic diseases, such as diabetes, hypertension, and other ailments that require close monitoring and routine medications. Our global clinical team leverages technologies such as point-of-care diagnostics, telemedicine, Agasta cloud-based electronic health record system, and electronic prescription processing of FDA-approved medications to effectively manage patients and produce positive health outcomes. The plan provides a peace of mind to patients in the Gambia and their loved ones who may sponsor from overseas by providing 4 free prescription medications a month, 4 diagnostic tests a year, free Wellness on Wheels delivery from Banjul to Basse, 10% off all products and services, all for a price less than a cup of coffee a day. D $38,050 a year. Flexible payment options available. Why travel abroad to receive quality healthcare anymore when IGH can bring the quality you deserve to your doorsteps? Simon.
We love food, but we don't go to the market. What is the secret behind this?
Kalilu.com.
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 Yes, Kalilu.com. Your friends, parents, and spouses in Europe and America.
My boss in China sends me cash power through Kalilu.com, and this makes life easier.
My Danish lady sends me money, which I immediately pick up from the bank, all through Kalilu.com.
It's my birthday. My brother in Spain just sent me food credit through Kalilu.com.
Rice, cooking oil, and all groceries can be bought online through Kalilu.com and shall be instantly delivered to your doorstep. With Kalilu.com, your loved ones save and you still get more.
All right, so we'll come here and have one of our young hosts to introduce one of the members in the panel, Mr. Ferreira, and Fali Kora will be taking over the panelists from there. Fali, let me play the host here.
Live from Washington, D.C. Please welcome the Gambian ambassador to the United States of America, Mr. Dado Ferreira.
Yeah, Bilal killed it. Yes, Mr. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you very much to all the panelists. I will be the one moderating the discussion for the next 20 to 25 minutes. But I wanted to welcome everyone. Thank you, GTA, for giving me the opportunity. My name is Fali Kora. I am part of the executive team. So we're excited to have this virtual event. I know, like, we are living in very unprecedented times. The Labor Day event normally is our biggest event, but unfortunately, we are unable to do it in person. But also, I think this is an opportunity to try to link with people all over the U.S. So I will start with the ambassador and then go down the list of the panelists. Mr. Fodera, again, thank you so much for joining us. I know many of us, as soon as we get to the U.S., we forget the whole idea of an embassy. You know, once we get our visas, there's nothing else to deal with the with the terminology of ambassador or embassy. I wanted to ask you a few questions about some of the services that the Gambian embassy is providing to residents of the Gambians that are in the U.S. currently.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cora. And before you, I also want to acknowledge the young person who brilliantly introduced me. I think this is very good. These are the feature of the association and also the Gambia in general. So I really appreciate that. I also want to take this opportunity to thank your president, Bamba Sona, somebody I have had frequent communications with on email and on text messages, voice notes, but we never met. I think we are meeting for the first time virtually. But I can tell you he's a very committed person. I thank him for inviting me. And I thank also other distinguished leaders of Gambia Texas Association. This is a great association. I learned a lot about it. In fact, this year, if it had not been the coronavirus pandemic, in our plan, I would have been in Texas to meet you people and meet you in person, because this is what we have been doing here since we came. I like what you said, that most people forget about the embassy, and I can understand that. But embassy is always here, for you. You are the centerpiece of our activities here. We do a range of services, just to answer your question, ranging from visas for those who want to travel to the Gambia but do not have a Gambian passport. They are Gambians though, but they hold an American passport, so that means they will need a visa to go to the Gambia. So we issue those visas. And there are timelines for the visas. We have three timelines. There's if you want a one-day service, you could get it. You could get it within 3 days. You could get it within 1 to 10 days. Those are all available at different costs. Also, the embassy nowadays, we cannot extend Gambian passports when they expire. That used to happen. But in view of the renewed features, security features on passports, on Gambian passports, which was in the past abused by so many foreigners, now it has been strengthened in terms of security. Because of that, the embassy can no longer extend the life of expired passports. So in its place, we do issue what we call travel documents, emergency travel documents. That's available for you. If your passport expires and you want to go to Banjul, you can always apply to the embassy, and we will provide you with a travel emergency travel certificate. And when you get to Banjul, you can go to the immigration department and renew your own visa. It is safe for you. It's safe for the country as well. So that's one service that is available. Another service we also do is called consular. We issue consular cards to Gambians who are in this jurisdiction but may not have a valid identity card, to use for transactions in this country. So people who need those kind of ID facility, they can always apply to the embassy. We will issue you with a consular card. We also do authentication Gambian documents. And people come to the embassy, or they have some issues with agencies or offices here in terms of the authenticity of the documents they present. This may be Gambian birth certificate, or sometimes they call it a certificate of character, or your school document. Any Gambian document, any document that's issued in the Gambia, mostly when you present it to authorities here, they are not sure whether these are valid or authentic legal documents of the Gambia. So they require the embassy to authenticate that. So those services are also available. If you submit something somewhere and people don't seem to trust what you have, your embassy is always available. You can come over and we'll help you authenticate that document for you. So those services are available at a cost, at a minimal cost. But also at the level of the embassy, whenever we go across the country, we talk to communities about immigration services also. In the country where we live here in the US, immigration is a very hot topic. It's a very hot issue. It's not only the US. I think this is all over. So we do work with community leaders, individuals who are affected, who are in the radar of the immigration, to see how we can work together to ensure that your rights are protected, because, the United States government had made it very clear that they're not going to tolerate illegal immigration in this country. And it is in their right to do what they want to do, but we always want to make sure that if Gambians are affected, if we know about it, we stay in touch with you and with the community to make sure that your rights are protected. If you are going to go back to Banjul, you would have at least been given the opportunity to exhaust all the legal avenues that are available to you. If you do that and the law, and you are ordered by the immigration judge that you need to leave the country, we also make sure that you live here with your dignity and your rights are protected until you get to Banjul. But we advise that I want to take this opportunity to reach out to the greater community in Texas, asking people who have the capacity and the opportunity to regularize their status in this country, let them do so. It's very important. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ambassador. I do have a couple of follow-up questions for you. I know you did mention something about the visa application process for that's a service that you guys provide. I know it will be unfair for us to leave this conversation without asking, because it happened to me myself when I went to Gambia. I am Gambian, but also I have a US passport. So when I went to Gambia, at the airport, I got stopped. And, apparently I was required to have a visa. And I'm like, oh, I was born in this country, so why do I need a visa? And I saw a video of you when you had a town hall meeting in North Carolina last year. And I believe someone asked you at that time, it was only 1 year, which I applaud, the embassy for taking that feedback from the community. And now the visa is good for 5 years. But still, you mentioned something about even if you have a Gambian passport, you don't need a visa. But I think at the airport, that's been asked still, when you go to Gambia. So can you elaborate on that for us, on, just for clarification purpose? And then also, I think to me, when we're looking at members of the community here in the diaspora wanting to go back, I think the travel between these two countries should be a little bit more easier for us.
Absolutely. Our constitution provides for dual nationality. It's allowed under our laws. You can be Gambian and be a citizen of another country like the US. So the visa does not apply at all if you obtain a Gambian passport, which is your right, your entitlement. A lot of people here, they don't go and get their Gambian passport. So if you don't get that, obviously, if you are going to Banjul and you get to the airport, no matter your name, your surname, and people don't recognize you at the airport, but as soon as you produce an American passport, you will definitely be required to to get an entry visa. That's the law. If you don't want to do that, please get the Gambian passport to which you are entitled. So I think there shouldn't be any problem if you have a Gambian passport. Nobody will ask you for an entry visa to Banjul when you get to the airport with the Gambian passport. If they do that, wow, then you should go and get a lawyer.
I think what happens is when you're coming back. When you're coming back, obviously you don't have a visa stamp on your Gambian passport to the US. So if you present
you mean US authorities?
Yeah, no, the authorities in Gambia, before you board the plane.
No, because when you come in, when you get into the country, you submit your Gambian passport.
Right.
And then go in.
Right.
When you're going out, you have very little to do with the Gambian immigration.
Yeah, they still ask you there though, at the airport. I think that's something the government needs to look at.
Well, this is the first time I have had this complaint. I'm looking for it. I'm in touch with the Director General of Immigration. I'm here. I will pass this on.
Yeah.
I'll make sure that this does not happen.
Okay.
This is why this community engagements are extremely good for me. So I get feedbacks and we make sure we follow up on them to make sure they happen. But this is the first time I'm hearing about this one.
Yeah.
So I have taken notes, sir.
Thank you. And then also, Mr. Ambassador. Bamba, go ahead. Yeah.
Real quick. Yeah. So you know what? I have to echo what the ambassador just said. So 2 years ago, I went to the Gambia with my U.S. passport, no Gambian passport. I'm like, I don't need it. So I walked in, and then of course I went through the visa process right there at the airport. I just came back last week. This time around, I made sure I had my Gambian passport. No issues whatsoever. So when I went in, I presented my Gambian passport. Zero issues. I was, went through the process. Coming back, of course, to your point, I presented my U.S. passport, and the guy just asked, "Oh, you must have entered with your Gambian passport." And I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, great." And then he let me in. He didn't even ask to see it. So the process, that is the process. So, I'm guessing, like the way things go in Gambia, you might have a one-off of somebody trying to clip some cash off of you. And that's that one-off.
But we'll look into it. We'll look into it.
Yeah.
Right. But I think it's important that when we go through those things, we voice it out like you're doing right now on this platform, so we can clean up those messy people and get them out of the way.
Yeah. And then also, like, Mr. Ambassador, with regards to, connecting with the communities in the US, I do believe, like, last year you mentioned something about satellite representatives in certain cities in the US. Can you give us a status update on that?
Actually, today at 6:30 p.m., I have a virtual meeting with our honorary consuls. Currently we have 6 of them. One in here in Maryland, one in New York, one in North Carolina, Wisconsin, Minneapolis, Seattle, Atlanta, and Canada. I don't know whether I mentioned 6. So, but let me also acknowledge here that I received a letter from Bamba, sitting right there, asking me why Texas Gambian Association, why they're not considered. So I said, well, when I took over, this was my idea. When I took over, I don't know much about this country. So I made a lot of consultation with community leaders to find out where we have the heavy concentration of Gambians, in which states or cities. So I was given about 5. So I started with that. That's initial one. Those ones are almost completed now. We've got approval from Gambia government, and we submitted it to the State Department. We are getting signals that they are being approved. They had some questions about some of our candidates, but we cleared them all out. I think because of this coronavirus, that delayed the thing, because State Department currently is not working as normal. They're working remotely. But hopefully very soon, we are getting signals that they will be processed very soon. But already we are working with them. So, and I think, actually I've been to Houston, a meeting last year, or is it early this year? I was invited by West African Chamber of Commerce. These are distinguished Africans from West Africa who who set up that organization, and they are doing very well. And their objective is to link the countries from West Africa to the opportunities available in Houston, and in fact, Texas in general. So I had a very successful trip there, 3 days working visit. Met the mayor of the city and so many other officials. And I think it's very successful. Things are coming up as a result of that meeting. And that during that stay too, I managed to meet some Gambians. A couple of them, there are not many, but we held a town hall with them in Houston, my last night there, which was also successful. So, but really, I think I need to, when all is over, I will be very happy to come over there and meet you guys. Because you are doing a great job for yourself and also for the country. And this is what we need. So hopefully you should be in the next wave of honorary councils that we will be appointing, from what I'm seeing about your activities.
Yeah, thank you. In lieu of the fact that we wanted to connect with the embassy, and then also just having you to join our platform, for instance. So I went to the embassy's website, and then there's actually a form there which I've never heard of before. That's requiring asking Gambians to register their phone numbers, their information, address, which I went ahead and did. Is that something that that you want to talk about, and what's the benefit of it? And then also, why should we register?
Absolutely. The Gambian diaspora, especially the US ones, I think the Gambia government really appreciates the critical role you are playing in the socio-economic development of our country. And as a result, we want to make sure you are in the center, you become the centerpiece of all the activities in the Gambia. This is the reason why in the plan, we have a medium-term national development plan, 2018-2022. In that plan, there is an inclusion of a 10-year diaspora strategy. And that strategy provides a roadmap for effective coordination of your engagement in the socio-economic life of our country. And then as a result of that strategy too, we have created a diaspora directorate ministry, which is also helping you to coordinate your activities to ensure that your interventions become effective in the Gambia. But it's important to know who is who. Who are the Gambians living in the US? Officially, we don't have. I know my predecessors who were here, and they probably would have tried, but it would have been very difficult during the dictatorship. I'm sure a lot of people will not volunteer. You see, you when you went to the website, you saw this form and you completed it. I am sure during the dictatorship, you will probably not do it, because you might think that your information will be used, to send it to the junta, so that when you go to Banjul, they know how to get you. But this time, this is democracy now. We need to know who is who. It's been very difficult. People are still not completing that form, as fast as we want. So we're now going to use our honorary councils, who are, members of the community, so that to engage with them to make sure that people register this, because it's also good. So we know who you are, where you are, so that in the event of any problem, we can easily get in touch with you. Because there are times, recently somebody passed away somewhere. Sometimes it's difficult even to know. It's difficult. There are no contacts. This is very important. So I think we want to go ahead with that. To register everyone if possible, and then if people also want to put in their professional qualification, is good, because at the end of the day, it's important to have a national database of Gambians and their skills, so that when you need certain skills in the Gambia, rather than appointing a foreigner, you can tap those resources and get to the individual, and then let them go and do the work that foreigners probably even less qualified than the Gambians are doing in the Gambia. So it's very important that those forms are completed. And I want to take this opportunity to ask your president if he could also, even though he's not necessarily the honorary council for now, but as a community leader, can I ask you to initiate compiling for me the the number of people who live in your jurisdiction, and their details as it is set out in the website. Please take a look at it. Thank you.
Done.
Thank you so much. I can't agree with you more. We try to do the same here for our community. We have our WhatsApp group, and then also our Facebook group where we try to engage our members of our community that way. And I think if we have like a central database for the whole country, where for instance, we have health crisis right now in Gambia, where we know who are the doctors, who are the nurses, who we can reach out to help back home. I think that's a good initiative. So the people that are online currently, I do encourage everyone to go on and register with the embassy. Finally, Mr. Ambassador, I do want to ask you one last question. What advice do you have for people that are living in the diaspora who have intentions of going back home to help in the government?
Thank you very much. That's a very important question. My advice to members of the diaspora who want to return to the Gambia, and even those who don't want to return to the Gambia, is that we are coming from a very difficult past. The last 22 years was very difficult for every Gambian, and it has left us with a lot of problems. We have huge challenges in the Gambia, from health sector to the economy, to infrastructure, to the education system, and hotel facilities for tourism. There are a lot of issues in the Gambia. So these difficulties, obviously, I will say in every difficulty there are advantages. There are solutions, and there are also advantages. So I think people now, I want to call on the members of the diaspora to take advantage of the situation in the Gambia right now, because there are huge opportunities now for investment. The plan I mentioned earlier, also if you go there, there are 8 strategic areas that has been identified by government as top priorities. And people who wish to invest in those 8 areas, there are huge incentives for them. So if you're a Gambian, particularly members of the diaspora, I know you have the expertise, you have the networks, the partnerships, so people should try and get partners and go and invest in the Gambia. If you don't want to do investment, you can also put yourself together as a non-profit organization and try to see how you can muscle out some stuff to help people back home. So the areas that are critical now in the plan includes energy. Energy is critical. NAWEC. We know that since independence, Gambia had faced a perennial energy crisis, and we're still facing it. So as part of this plan, government through Minister of Energy and NAWEC, they have crafted a roadmap, which objective is to once and for all solve the energy problem. And they are on track. There are problems, but they are on track. On that roadmap, there are opportunities for private sector to come in. So I invite you to check the roadmap and see whether you can find partners, to invest in the Gambia. It's worthwhile to invest in the Gambia. You make money, out of your investment, but at the same time, you will help, create opportunities for people also in the Gambia. So energy is one key top area. Another area, of course, is health, because our health infrastructure is also not up to scratch. I'm sure you all know about that. So in this plan, the focus is on expanding health facilities across the country, and also to produce more health professionals. The stock of health professionals we have in the country is really low. It's not too low, but compared to the population, it's very low. Let me put it that way. So the plan is very ambitious. There are targets that in the coming years, how many nurses or doctors we produce, and that this needs to be done. And also to get the necessary equipment that are necessary in the Gambia to make sure that people get the health care that they deserve. Healthcare is a very expensive enterprise. Governments alone cannot do it. I am happy to report to you that, in fact, somebody was here who is also on this platform, on this call today, who are doing some providing some healthcare or about to provide some healthcare services to our people. So there are a lot of private sector players on the ground, but it's still not adequate. We need more people to go there so that our people will stop going across the border to go to Senegal and get medical attention. We can do it in the Gambia and make money, but at the same time, so health sector critical. And the next one I want to talk about is agriculture. Agriculture, is the mainstay of our economy. It employs more than 80% of our population, and yet its contribution to GDP is less than 30%. So that tells you that there is a big problem here. So if a sector as important as agriculture is only contributing less than 30% compared to the number of people that works there, shows you that our methodology needs to be checked, because we are really still using generally traditional methodology in agriculture, which is not, in the 21st century, is not what it should be. So now we need technology. We need mechanization. We need partnerships, people who can bring people in, who can come with those kind of technology. Look at the beef, meat, in the Gambia, it's very expensive. It shouldn't be. So if you have partners who can come in and do cattle rearing, there are technology for all that. So we can make money and also bring down the cost of food, meat for people. So people from Badibu, for example, they cannot eat meat because they cannot afford it, So it's very important that there are a lot of opportunities there. And then during the Tobaski, Tobaski rams, they are very expensive in the Gambia because we go to Mali or Senegal and bring them in. Why can't somebody, Gambians, can do this? So private sector intervention in this is good. We bring, chickens from China. Sometimes you don't even know what you are eating. These are things that can be done in the Gambia, but it's not only government that can do all this. So I think this is where the really diaspora is required to come in, with their exposure and expertise and the connections they have and the education and all that. They can help our country to do that. You live here in the US. So most of the innovative facilities here, cross-cutting facilities here, are not provided by government. They are provided by the private sector. If you look at the railways, the big hospitals, train stations and all that, private sectors, they are in the lead in all this. So this is what we want to do now, to make private sector the engine of our growth. And for that to happen, I think really the focus is on you, the diaspora. Those who want to go home, they can really participate in that. Even those who don't want to go home, you can be here and make partnerships and move on. Look at tourism, for example. Tourism is very important for Gambia. Since we transitioned from dictatorship to democracy, the first 2 years, of course this year, because of the pandemic, it's a disaster. But the previous 2 years, the number of people that booked hotels to go to Gambia for holiday far exceeded the available hotel facility. I mean, there's opportunity there for those who can go and put up hotels, put up resorts. Tourism is good for us because our country is peaceful. We have natural attractions. We have the beaches, the sunshine. The people are warm and smiles, so they want to come. It's a very hot destination. But we need to go beyond the natural attractions. An enriching experience. We need to diversify the tourism attractions for our visitors. So there is a lot that we can do. Education, for example, too. We need to, I always say in the plan too, the education system we're trying to, revamp it, if you like, because yes, in the Gambia today, access to education is extensive. Most people get access, but the problem is the relevance. How relevant is our curriculum? The people we are graduating right now, are they the right type of people and skill sets that we require for our labor market? I'm sure you all know it's no. So right now, the focus is on the technology, science and technology. Science and technology is important. So that and also vocational skills, technical skills. These are important, and government can do all this. Somebody can go and set up a technical school in Kerewan or in Basse or somewhere. A lot of people will come in, you train them, give them skills. When they come out, they become employers rather than looking for employment. And then that means you are capacitizing our people, and at the same time you will make money because they'll pay you for the services. So there are a lot of opportunities in the Gambia right now as we speak, and I think it is diaspora that can really take the lead. So I advise people to go online and look at the plan and start working towards doing something about it. This is very important. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Ambassador. This has been an informative discussion, and thank you for joining us. We truly appreciate the feedback, and then also your willingness to engage the community. I hope the viewers could come back, go to the embassy's website, register there. There's a lot of information if you want to invest in business, and as the ambassador mentioned. So we truly appreciate you. Thank you so much again for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Hey, before we move on and before we lose the ambassador, Mr. Ambassador, I just want to really sincerely thank you for everything. Guys, if you don't know, I have a direct line to this man right here. This is the ambassador of the Gambia to the US. And I have a direct line to him. I talk to him at will. I'll call him, he'd pick up. If he's in a meeting, he'll text me, I'm in a meeting. He literally calls me back during a break, not even at the end of the meeting. So we are in direct communication here, and I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And then for you to take some time out of your Sunday and sit here with us, I mean, we can't thank you enough. We greatly, greatly appreciate you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. You make me feel super important, and I appreciate that.
You are. Thank you. Thank you.
And by the way, the fight is not over yet between you and me about not getting Dallas included in a lot of the stuff that you guys do. I'm sure I will win that battle.
Sure. We'll talk about this. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay.
All right. So, Mustafa, are we going to have a video, or we're just going to continue with the panelists?
Let's keep going. Go on time.
All right. Okay, so the next person is going to be Hadi. Hadi, thank you again for, as I mentioned, we really appreciate this. This is truly unprecedented because, I've never met the leaders from the other largest Gambian organizations in the US. So, for you guys to have the time and then also just to come and share your perspectives of what's going on. I think it is only because of COVID-19 this is happening, right? So we really appreciate you guys. Hadi is the president of the Gambian organization in Atlanta, and welcome on board. What we wanted to discuss really here is I know for the GTA we are doing certain things for the community because of COVID-19. We wanted to hear from you guys. What are you doing, for instance, for your community currently with regards to community COVID-19 resources, and then also how are you trying to engage your folks back there?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. That was a great intro, and I'm really happy to be on here, share my views, talk to the community. And Bamba, I'm going to get you for not using you as the next future woman president. You're going to introduce me, but that's okay. We'll get back to that. But yeah, we're very excited, and I must say I need to congratulate you guys and say kudos to making this happen. Bamba and I have talked a lot about bringing the communities together, bringing the leaders together to be able to do something bigger than just what we do in our communities. And I think this is a stepping stone. It's a great initiative, a great start. You've done it, you made it happen, and I hope you continue that trend and continue to bring all of us together to do big and bigger things for our communities. As it relates to COVID-19, we started actually working early on when the COVID hit around March to help our communities here and in the Gambia. And we initially just took out of our coffers and ran with it to help our community here. We did food distributions here in Atlanta, huge packages to our families in need. A lot of people may not be aware, but Atlanta's here. The airport is one of the busiest in the world, and hospitality industry too has a lot of our people that work there. So when COVID hit, a lot of them had lost their jobs or temporarily laid off. So we had to act fast and be able to help our families and friends here in Atlanta. Also, people have to remember that we were just not formed as a social organization, but also as an emergency relief association, which our core is to help our community members. And that's why we had to jump and act fast. That was the first initiative we did early on. And right after that, we did the same with Kalilu, who I believe is on the show and a sponsor of yours too, to help us get 250 or more packages to Gambians on the ground. And then we worked with folks from QTB to get us cases and cases of water. When they heard what we were doing, they gave it to us. And all of this was handed to Red Cross back then in April and May to distribute to folks in the Gambia, to families in need, because they have the database. They are a very credible source to be able to give them what they need to help with people that need it, and also their volunteers. The water also was sent all the way to the borders to help people that were watching our borders and make sure. So that's what we had done then. We never stopped doing that, helping, and we continue to help our community members that have fallen hard. In addition to that, we have another round of aid that we would work in. We're now sourcing. We work with Red Cross a lot, very close to them, and then I have a few people that are working to volunteer on the ground that always reach out to us when they hear the need is on the ground. So we are sourcing items right now according to the list that we got from the Red Cross, to be able to provide them with what they need, saving lives, picking up folks that unfortunately had lost their lives, to be able to bury them safely, to protect themselves, and also to help them to get more people to be involved, because the safer they feel to volunteer, the more they will be able to work, the more they will be willing to help save our folks on the ground and spread the word awareness. So at this moment right now, what we're focused on is helping people that are falling on hard times here in Atlanta, but also trying to finalize our items that we send over back again to help us.
Thank you, Hadi. It seems like you guys are doing a lot here and then back home, which is very admirable. I think with COVID-19, it really shows the strength in when we are organized, and then also when we can all come together and put our resources together to help. And I think also for us to even be here today and having this conversation on this platform, it just speaks volume of what we can do when we all come together. And I know the ambassador mentioned something about the Kenya development program, which is it speaks of how the Kenyan community, how they're able to mobilize themselves even within the diaspora and do stuff here. And then some other countries back home are doing the same thing. And I think for what we are trying to do with GTA, and then now collaborating with you guys, and I think we can do a lot of stuff together, hopefully be stronger. And I do wanted to know though, what message do you have for your community? And then with this message of whether it is COVID-19, I know people need encouragement, or also how we can all unify as a people and try to help each other out, whether it is here or back home.
Great question. It's a loaded question, so I'm going to try to break it down phases. To first start with being one community, coming together as one. I think, like you mentioned, your platform just did that with this that you're doing, bringing in the community leaders together. And as we sit here as community leaders, we are the voice of those communities, right? So they put us forth to be able to speak for them. We hope that we represent them well, and as each community is willing to accept that invitation to come forward. That is the starting point. And I don't know if you guys may know, but when I joined, Bamba was one of the first people I called to talk to about, working together, getting together, inviting him over to our July 4th ceremony. And I mean, he did not hesitate. I'm not surprised that he put this together. He was very excited to say that, okay, I'm going to go for the Gambian community there, because it's the same. Just because he's in Texas doesn't mean that he's not part of what we're doing here. And I did the same thing when he called me to go last year to Texas for your event. But the virtual event has made it possible for more of us to be here today, to be able to communicate. And I think it's an example for all of us to follow. It's just saying that we can make progress. We can move Gambia and the Gambians in forward by working together. It doesn't stop us. It's not going to hurt us. It's just going to make us stronger. And I'll be radical a little bit and say there are a group of us that are just making progress. And I think we need to be able to see what that does to our community as a whole. All it's doing is setting us back. It's not helping us move forward. The Kenyans have learned that they're moving forward. We've seen that in several African countries where they're learning to work with each other, to work with their own resources, what they have within, which all of us have some great resources. We have individuals in our community. We have great minds. They're doing wonders, whether it's in politics, agriculture, technology, or whatnot. We all do it, but we don't tend to figure out how to bring it all together and make it work for our community as a whole. And I think if we start from these sort of collaborations and make it easier to communicate together, we are out for one goal and one goal only, and it's to move all of us forward. The progress of our people is what's important. And I think Ambassador had stressed that a lot when he was talking. He's made that effort by having all the representatives in different states. And Bamba would be next on the list, I guess. And he's really happy to make sure that he's pushing his agenda. But that would happen. And I think his effort to do that and be available to all of us.
Yeah, your audio is kind of not quite clear, so we might want to take a look at that.
Oh, it's not coming out at all?
Oh, it's much better.
It's coming out. Yeah, now it's much better. I think we needed you to lean, like you just did.
I'll lean in more to do that.
There you go.
Okay, so I don't know where I broke off. But I was also going to say that our ambassador is leading the trend by putting these representatives in the different states and actually being available, like Bamba said, when people reach out to him. He does that for the Atlanta community too. When we call to ask for help or when we have stuff going on here, as soon as we reach out, they jump up. They would come all the way to Atlanta to help the families in need. When we had the recent issue with Mr. late Mohamed Lemons, he said they did not hesitate. They were here to help the family with GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, every single day with our Consul General by going through everything that needed to happen for that family. So that is the power of collaboration. That family was burdened, they were hurting, had stuff going on, but they didn't have to deal with what our consulate and ambassador had to do for them. So when we start moving that way, things get easier for all of us. The focus gets clearer for people to work together. And then when we take that attitude, take that collaboration for those that are able here and move it to Gambia, we're unstoppable. So I think, to your point, one community to start learning that as we work together, we'll do better is going to take us further and stronger. But without that, we're just going to have piecemeal stuff happening. So I'm hoping and praying that these sort of events that we have would help show people that people like us and you, everyone else on the platform that's watching, is willing to work together to make our lives better and everyone else. And as far as Atlanta goes, in our community, we have seen the great support that we've had ever since we came in as an administration and previously. Ajera has been here, on paper registration, you're talking about 18 years, way more than that. So with that said, we know that we have the Bound people in, they've, welcomed the Texas Association, the Minneapolis Association with open arms to be able to work together and help. So I thank them and thank all of you guys for opening the door for us to work together and make our people better, to elevate our lives all over.
Thank you, Hedy. Thank you. So I'm going to move on to the next panelist, Ibrahima. Sekou, sorry. Sekou Kamara is the next one. Sekou is not new to us. In fact, a few years ago when he first wrote his book, he was one of our guest speakers here. He came and showcased his book to us. So I know Sekou because, he's made a couple of videos too. As you guys know, we have a very busy summer of racial unrest, a lot of talk about, the Black Lives Matter and, justice for our Black folks. And Sekou has been front and center, and he's made a couple of videos on that. So we just brought him in so he can, like, give us some advice as, like, Black people in America. He went to a historical Black college. He got the type of education that a lot of us, we went to universities here, but it's a little bit different when you go to, like, a historical Black college, and the relationships that you're able to build with the African American community. So Sekou, with his knowledge of the African American community, and then also the book he wrote himself and some of his struggles that he went through. So that's why we brought him in. Sekou, welcome. We're thankful for the fact that you came to join us. I do have a couple of questions for you. What advice do you have for young Africans in the diaspora currently, with all the turmoil that's going on in our country?
Thank you very much, Harry, and then thank you very much for the entire Texas and the Dallas community. I saw your book collection behind you there. It is very impressive. Mbadin, I hope you have my book among them.
No, it's here. It's here.
We'll have this conversation right after this, right now. Aparaka, thank you very much, Inimbara. Thank you very much. I've always
There's your book right here.
I always tell people that the Dallas community is my favorite community in the US. So thank you very much. And comme ko la Ndiaye de waxee rek tam waxtaan dafa ne borom kër so seen président bi tam Bamba maa ngi ko nuyu ak Mrs First Lady suma jigéen ñu ñaawu ci dëkk Dallas yëpp ñoom Ajee ñoom Aida Bachan ñëpp maa ngi leen nuyu. Thank you very much. And also, I would like to personally thank your sponsors who also make this gathering possible for all of us. Dr. Nesu Feti Real Nehe Rahaman Debati Simagri. So, since sponsor itam yoo xam ne ñoo leen jàppale si event bi, I'm telling all of them thank you very much for continuing to support Gambian initiatives all across the US. And also the LSTV, suma jigéen bu ñaawut bi tam suma jigéen bu baax bi léegi ba ñu ko gërëm moom bi thank you very much ak team bi yëpp. So to get to the crux of the matter, what do I have to advise the Africans who are living in the diaspora right now regarding the current state that we live in? I would like us to first recognize the times that we are living in, and for people to understand that nothing is new what is happening right now. We have seen these things happen, and we have seen them happen over and over, and they're going to continue happening. Whether it is in America, whether it is Europe, whether it is Asia, whether it's Africa, we all know that Black lives have not been valued and respected anywhere in this world. All of us as a brand, I tell people, like, I look at Black lives like when you look at Apple product. An Apple product is an Apple product no matter where you travel in this world. Apple is branded, is valued, is respected. Same way white life, anywhere white people live in this world, the white skin, the Caucasian race, they have been valued and respected. When you look at it all over the world, all the people who have been wronged, the Japanese people, they got some form of reparation, both from the United Nations and other institutions. When you look at the Irish people, they received reparation for how they've been wronged. When you look at the Italians, they received reparation for the wrongs method against them. In the US here, the Native Americans, they received reparation. Even the US government endorsed a reparation against the Jewish people through the United Nations for the wrongs done to them by Hitler, even though they are not directly involved in that particular incident. So the only people who never received any form of even a formal apology for the crimes that happened to us as a race and as a people. I'm from West Africa, the Gambia, as we all are here, I believe so. We know that one of the most arguably the most famous slave in the history of slavery is Kunta Kinte, who came from our own backyard. Last time I checked, we never received a proper apology for the atrocities made towards our continent. Our human resources as a nation has been depleted due to slavery. All the crimes committed against us due to colonialism, we receive no apology, no reparation whatsoever. So this is not just only about the police incidents in America or a couple of Black people being shot and killed. And even that incident, let's look at America as a whole. Black people are only 12% of the US population, but when you look at it in totality, we make up about 43%, up to 43% of the prison population system. When you look at our places of employment, Black people are not very, without the help of affirmative action, some of us will never be making it in corporate America, because we know, left to some racist people, some of us will never see a daylight in corporate America. And these are facts. We also know that some of the opportunities that we Africans enjoy in America today, like you said, are in the HBCU. But there's a reason why we have an HBCU to begin with. That's because Black people were never allowed to receive education in predominantly white institutions in this country. That's why we have HBCUs. So I am in this country and given the privilege that I'm getting due to the fight the African American community put in place. Whether some of you live in very nice gated community, I visit Dallas, mashallah, I see some of the places that you guys live, alhamdulillah, may God bless you all. But that's because of somebody fought for a Fair Housing Act in the 60s. Some of us can now fly first class and where we want to go. We eat in nice fancy restaurants and live in nice fancy hotels. That's because of somebody fought for the civil rights movement in the 60s and make sure that we all have equal rights in this country. So if we come into this country today and we are benefiting from the labor that our African American community went through, even if we are not directly impacted, or in our own understanding believe that we are not directly impacted or affected by some of the racism and the police brutality in this country, we owe it to us a moral responsibility and even a duty to people who are here before us, who paved the way for us. And for all of them to understand that unless and until Black Lives Matter in Tennessee, until Black Lives Matter in New York, until Black Lives Matter in every city across America, Black lives will not matter anywhere in this world, because America arguably is the most advanced and most powerful country in the world. And Black Americans, whether we admit it or like it or not, they are one of the most advanced, if not the most advanced people of color in the entire world. So if they are being treated this way in America by the most powerful nation in America, then be no surprise when dictators kill Black people in Africa, because nobody cares. Then don't be surprised if Black people are being stigmatized and segregated and receive racism in Asia, because nobody cares. Don't be surprised if Black people today we see what our African brothers and sisters are going through in the Middle East. We saw even in North Africa where Black people were sold into slavery in the 20th century or the 21st century. It happens today because Black lives are not valued anywhere. And I think the best way to send that message is to tackle and attack the most powerful institution in the world, which is the United States of America. If you can make if you can make America respect and value Black lives in America, I promise and guarantee you that the world will listen.
Sekou, thank you so much for giving us the the word today, Sunday. But I do have his book. This is his book here. It is part of my collection.
Thank you.
It is called The Testimony of an African Immigrant. You can get it on Amazon. Actually, I have a couple of copies. So please, get it. It is a very good book, very inspiring. Again, Sekou, thank you so much for joining us. I think whatever you said here.
This one last thing. I also have a second book, which is Africa Through a Mirror. Africa Through a Mirror, you can also pick that up on Amazon. Put on a very, very nice up there, the melanin shirt. I didn't see you wearing Hustle Like an Immigrant. I'm going to need you to put in your order and get your own shirt, Hustle Like an Immigrant. I look forward to that.
All right. Thank you so much.
Hey, you got my word. I'm gonna get every color you sell, man.
Thank you. That.
And where do we get the T-shirt from?
You can go to SeikouSpeaks.com. SeikouSpeaks.com.
SeikouSpeaks.com. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Sekou. We're gonna move up to our next panelist is Binta Mane. Binta is the president of the Seattle Gambian Association. Thank you again, Binta, for joining us. It will be almost the same questions that I asked Hadi earlier. Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So Binta is the president of the Seattle Gambian Association. So we welcome you. Thank you so much, Binta, for taking the time to joining us. Again, we're so excited to have you being one of the leaders in one of the most dynamic and largest Gambian communities in the U.S. When we first started GTA, Seattle was actually the business model we looked at and we emulated. And then hopefully, we're almost at the same standing or better. But I will let you speak to some of the things that you guys are doing right now in Seattle, just like what Adi mentioned about the COVID-19 and how they're able to help the Atlanta community and communities back home. How are you guys coping?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Hi. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here. Texas, Bamba, Mustafa, thank you all so much for putting this together. Actually very similar to Hadi when I started last year. Texas was the first group that I reached out to work together with. So I'm so happy. Thank you guys for putting this together. I'm happy to be here. As far as what we've been doing with COVID, a lot of you may be aware that Washington very early on was the epicenter of COVID. Actually, I think the first person to be diagnosed was from here. So what my team and I had to act very quickly. Reasons being that the community here is a very big knit community, and a lot of us live with our elderly parents who were part of the high risk population. So we had to act quickly, and one of the ways was to prevent people from to encourage people to stay home as much as possible. So with that, providing food was very vital. So we started providing groceries and delivering it to their doorsteps. Some had customized orders with diapers and baby food and all that. So we just started really working together and ensuring that we delivered the food to them. On top of that, a lot of people lost their jobs. Many got their work hours reduced. Some got furloughed. So food was very vital. After that, we partnered with Snohomish County and Community of Color Coalition. We partnered with them, and together with the DGSCAN organized a grab and go meal. This was during Ramadan, so we did it as iftar dinner. We provided about 150, over 150 iftar dinner to community leaders, but we still needed more. The community was still asking for more. So we formed a coalition with other African communities. We called it the Washington State Coalition of African Community Leaders. And through that organization, we were able to apply for funds from the Seattle Foundation. And they gave us those funds. Again, we used those funds to just provide more food, gift cards, paying bills, utility bills, medical bills for people who were out of work due to COVID. In addition, our governor, after the first round of COVID, the second round again, Inslee made a proclamation that everybody must wear a mask. So with that, we made, I think, 2 days after the proclamation, or 3 days, we made available about 1,000 masks, which we distributed among community members. And then again, reached out to the county, both King County and Snohomish County, that we needed more. So they ended up sending us about 10,000, both reusable and non-reusable mask to give to the Gambian community. We did a first drive-through mask giveaway, and right now we're working on, which was very successful. We're now working on the second one to give the mask and the hand sanitizers to the community members. We also applied for funding from the city of Everett. They awarded us $20,000. We're yet to disperse that money because with federal funding, you just have to make sure there are a lot of boxes you need to check and a lot of paperwork involved in it. So once we settle all that, we'll again use the money for Gambians living here in Everett. But yeah, that's there's been a lot of movement over the past couple of months, just trying to get the resources out to people and working with other African countries, the Zimbabwe, Ghana, Rwanda, and many of them, just sharing resources and sharing what works and what doesn't work. The Gambian community being a 501c3, for instance, Ghana not being one, and just collaborating and bringing our things together in applying for funding.
Okay. Well, it sounded like you guys have been very busy, taking a lot of initiatives to help your community. I do want to ask you, what words of wisdom or encouragement do you have to share with with your community back in Washington?
I'm just really very incredibly thankful to the community here. From the beginning in March, the minute we put our first statement out, um, about helping each other. My phone, people were blowing up my phone. People were ready to donate. People were ready to volunteer their time to help us go deliver the groceries. And even with the mask giveaway, I'm just incredibly thankful. Everybody here in Seattle truly brought their efforts when it was most needed to help each other. And just encouraging them to continue being their brothers and sisters keepers. And I think our first speaker, Renee, mentioned, he said, anybody can be a leader, just encourage them anywhere in your living room, encouraging them to take charge. We have the executive here, we have the association here, but we can't do everything similar to in Texas or Atlanta. So people just taking charge and take the responsibility and help us build a better community. On top of that, too, we so back in a couple of years ago, ICOPS bought a land, a plot. Well, they really buy it, but they got it for 2.7 million. They were able to pay part of it, and now we have 2 million to go that we need to pay over the next 15 months. So just encouraging the community to step up. If we don't pay that property, we are going to lose it. And that property is not just a masjid, it has the potential to be turned into a community center. At least that's the plan, to turn the property into a community center once everything is paid off. So just encouraging them to step forward. I mean, it's a lot to ask over the next 15 months to please help us and pay the property. And people in Atlanta, in Texas too, we need your help. So help us out in any way that you can to pay off the 2 million remaining for our potential community center.
Thank you again, Binta. At the end of the day, we're all looking for a community center. So I do encourage people to donate to the Seattle Gambian Association. Do you guys have a website that you can share with us that, we can let our members know?
Yes, I will text Mustafa the link.
Yeah, that would be good. So we'll just share that with our community. But first of all, I do want to say, I just noticed this. You are, ICU nurse. I know, myself, I'm a nurse. I feel like a military person now. So when I'm wearing my scrubs in the grocery store, they're like, "Thanks for your service." So thank you for your service. Thanks for everything that you're doing currently. We're going to take a short break, and then the next panelist will be Bamba.
We're going to switch that a little bit, Fali, to Simon.
Yep. Okay.
Get Bamba next. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right. So, Mr. Simon. Simon is the founder of Kalilu. We met a couple of Labor Days in the past. He was here in Texas. So thank you for joining us again. When I saw the commercial of your company, actually I was like, this guy is so forward thinking, because at the end of the day, all the service that you're doing right now, it is even more relevant that, you make the processes so efficient and simple. So that's why we brought you on. And, when you came to us, 2 years ago and you talked about your business, didn't make a lot of sense, but I know, people bought into it. But now with COVID-19, I'm like, this guy is a genius. I don't know, you were seeing way ahead of everybody else. So, if you can talk to us about your business, what you guys are doing, and thank you for being a sponsor consistently I think like since the first time you came and sponsored our GTA Labor Day event, you have consistently done that. So we really appreciate you for doing that for us.
Sorry guys, we're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back.
We love food, but we don't go to the market. What is the secret behind this?
Kalilu.com.
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 Yes, Kalilu.com. Your friends, parents, and spouses in Europe and America.
My boss in China sends me cash power through Kalilu.com, and this makes life easier.
My Danish lady sends me money, which I immediately pick up from the bank, all through Kalilu.com.
It's my birthday. My brother in Spain just sent me food credit through Kalilu.com.
Rice, cooking oil, and all groceries can be bought online through Kalilu.com and shall be instantly delivered to your doorstep. With Kalilu.com, your loved ones save and you still get more.
All right.
All right, Khalil, you can go ahead.
Yes.
Is that Simon? Yeah, Simon. Yeah.
Yes, good afternoon. Can you hear me well?
Yep.
Sorry, I'm doing my daddy duties here, so I'm at a soccer game for my daughter. But I am Mr. Cora. Thank you so much for the audience, and Mustafa, to my brother Mustafa, for putting it together. You know, I'm a big fan of Texas, GTA especially, because I told Bamba this from day one. When I met Bamba, I said, look, we just started, and I would love to have the opportunity to kind of interact with the Dallas team. He said immediately, come on aboard and do whatever you need to do. And I was like, what do I need to sponsor? He's like, it doesn't matter. If you can give anything, that's fine. If you can't, it's okay. Things like that doesn't speak any less than Gambian business or Gambian people for Gambian people is always number one. And to me, that matters. And to my organization, it will always matter. And that is why when we hear the call from Ajera, from my sister in Atlanta, you know, they partner with us very good. When I hear from you guys, we take action. And I think those are the things that make us proud about what we do, our culture, our heritage, to what all these other speakers were speaking about. Now, what I like about Kalilu, even though I am the CEO, is that Kalilu is just not here to help everybody in the diaspora to be able to provide for their family and not have to deal with any other challenges that come with trusting somebody to execute any ask that you have to be able to do what's right for your family or to do anything for your project. We take care of that. And that's what I like about how efficient our system is. But what a lot of people don't know is we don't own any of the products we have in Kalilu. Kalilu is a platform to help Gambian businesses be able to access markets beyond Gambia's territory of physical brick and mortar. So every product you see out there, there is a registered business that actually, a vendor that is actually selling their product under Kalilu. We hold them at very high standards, and we make sure that in no way or form do they disappoint our customers, and we make sure we take immediate corrective action that things are right. And what I like about that is, it's not just a vendor. It is a Gambian-owned vendor. There is no negotiation about that. So we are in for Gambians, and we are here to support Gambian business. And that's the one thing that I like more about what we do and how we do things. And the ambassador spoke very eloquently about the businesses that we can do in Gambia. And one of the biggest challenges for businessmen and women in the diaspora is there is always no shortness of ideas. But the issue is how to execute it. And you run into challenges when it comes to trusting somebody to execute your business, and you can guard and safeguard your cash drawer. That is always the point of failure. And that is what Kalilu helps, because if you have your business and you partner with Kalilu, your cash drawer is not in the hands of anybody. Your cash drawer is with you, and all you have to do is execute on the delivery of the product. That is one of the things that you can't beat, and it's hard to find, and it's always a point of failure to my prior point. However, having vendors and Gambian vendors is very important to us, because one of the biggest elements of our failure in Gambia, and it continues to be a very big challenge, and it's going to get worse, is that Gambia's entrepreneurship is being dominated by Chinese, Indians most recently, Guinea-Conakry guys and Mauritanians, you name it. And we continue to be a very extinct breed in the business environment. And that is going to always affect our economy. And it's not going to change. It is not going to change until we make really bold steps in one, being investors, and two, being very creative in how we create lasting enterprises in Gambia. And that's where the diaspora comes in. Irrespective of which business you patronize, we have a big role to play in supporting any Gambian business by making sure that we directly interact with them and make transactions. And it could be pharmacy, it could be in the medical field, it could be anywhere, you name it. We can do it. And that is my challenge to all of us here, to make sure that we continue to look at new ideas, new ways that we can do business. Think outside the box, come up with new ideas, and come up with ideas that even foreigners already have or not Gambians in it, and start small. You'll never fail. Anything for Gambia is never too small. Anything your organizations are doing for Gambians in Dallas, Atlanta, Seattle, you name it, is never too small, up to New York. We need that. And this is what's going to change the paradigm of existence that we have as a nation and as a people. If we grow here, we will grow in Gambia. If we fail here, we'll fail in Gambia, period. And I applaud all of you for all the work you've done. It's not easy to lead Gambia. It's not easy to lead a community. And it's definitely not easy to lead a Gambian community. I know that. I've led the Colorado community for multiple years, and I know what it takes. And you are doing a fantastic job. This is a community work, and you don't get paid for it, but the pride in it, it's beyond measure. And I really admire you guys for that. So thank you for all you do, and you can always count on Kalilu as a team to continue to support your cause, either we're physically here or not. You're part of us.
Thank you so much, Simon. Those are like really, really nice words. You know, I mean, like, Bamba, I think you have a comment, right, with regards to Simon.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, there's no way I can let my brother slide without speaking about this gentleman right here. Let me tell you guys, man. So I have to stand up for this one. I get goosebumps when I talk about Simon. Like, this dude is amazing. I was in Gambia for 3 weeks, right? And I utilized his services throughout my stay in the Gambia. Like, I didn't, you know, Felix, you talked about him being a visionary, and that's exactly what he is. What he saw, this is like the Steve Jobs and those types of people type stuff, right? This is the thought of clicking a button and making it happen for a family member in the Gambia. It's insanely good. So, to tell you guys a little bit of story about Simon, man, I was in the Gambia for 3 weeks. And as you guys know, Gambians are deger boba. They don't care. They don't listen to follow any rules and regulations. They're standing online buying cash power and buying credit for their phones and all that stuff. I'm driving by yelling out, Kalilu.com, like, just go online and do this stuff, right? I use the service. Well, even before I went to Gambia, I was using the service all the time. But when I was in the Gambia, I saw, like, wow, this dude is genius. And trust me, I don't think his genius has surfaced fully yet. We're going to get to that point when we go back and look back at Simon and Kalilu, the Kalilu team. And we're going to be like, holy smokes, why didn't the rest of the world think of this stuff? It is just flawless. You go onto the website, you select the service you want, you select the dollar amount you want, you click, boom, the credit is in the person's account. So the crazy thing though, Simon, is that when I was there, once my family members and relatives found out that I could do that, they would just line up as a Bamba Smoke Credit Regenerative. Like, no problem. I'll go on Kalilu.com. I'll just add credit for them to their phone lines and stuff. My watchman was the funniest one. He would call me a boss. No worries. I go on Kalilu.com. Literally a minute later, he's got credit back on his phone line. Same thing with cash power. And then same thing with the grocery shopping piece. This past Tobaskibu Paseni, I purchased my RAM from Kalilu.com, delivered to my mother's house. Purchased groceries from Kalilu.com, delivered to my mother's house. And it's so just go log on to the website. You'll see how easy it is to do. Simon, we thank you, man. Greatly appreciate you. And I have to put this out. When I came back from Gambia last week, we had a meeting. We were talking about the plans for all of this. And then the name Kalilu.com came up. And I said to my team, scratch the plan. Scratch it. I don't care what's on the document an agenda that we're going to follow. Do whatever you can and put Kalilu on this agenda. So I just wanted to put that out there. Keep up the good work, man. We really appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Thank you, guys. Appreciate
it. All right. Thank you again. And actually, we have one more person, and that's no other Bamba. I think you just exhausted your 5 minutes, but no, we're going to give you another extra 5 minutes.
Hey, I'm going to flex my muscle. All right? I'm the president of this association, so I'm flexing my muscle. I'm going to speak for as long as I want. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. What's up? So, all right. So, do you have questions for me? You just want me to go?
Yeah. No, I want you to go. Actually, we do appreciate your leadership. As the ambassador mentioned, as all of the other leaders of the other communities had mentioned, I think if we're thinking about a president, we can't think about anyone better than you right now, because you engage the community here, you engage the broader community in the country. You're always reaching out to how you can collaborate with people. What it is, I've been part of this executive for almost 3 years, and I've seen the type of leader you are. So we really appreciate you. We do want you to talk to the Gambian community here in Texas. What are we doing? COVID-19, words of encouragement, and then also just words of wisdom for all of us when it comes to leadership.
Yeah. So I have some people to thank, of course, but then and then I'll talk about what you want to talk about, what you want me to talk about. And then I'm going to go back to the core of the message that I always deliver: synergy, right? The whole is always greater than the sum of its parts. I'll get more into that. But Madam Chairwoman, Madam Chair Lady from Ajara, my sister from another mother, thank you for doing this with us. Binta from Seattle. I'm going to tell you guys, these two young ladies, not only are they amazingly beautiful, but they're just as brilliant as you can imagine, right? I remember my initial conversation with both of them, and it was just like, man, I just walked away feeling so great that we have a bright future to bring forward our communities and our country as a whole. Our conversations were quite similar, actually, when I talked to both of them. And it was all tied around unity. How do we get our communities to do things together, right? And I remember the first time Binta called me, she's like, I'm this young girl that just nominated. I'm the president of the Seattle Association. I don't know what I'm doing. Help me out. I'm like, no worries. We got plenty of people to help you out. Reach out whenever you can. So thank you guys for taking time out of your day to do this with us. Thanks to the ambassador. Again, he's always readily available to me. When I called him and told him what I wanted him to do, he goes, no worries, sign me up. I'd like to thank, Pap Juve, especially because when I was in the Gambia, the entire 3 weeks, I drove the guy nuts. I also had a direct line to him. I'd call him, for the events that he's about to perform here in a little while. I was changing things on him around the clock. He'd take my phone call. His promoter, Biran Sar, lives in New Jersey. Also, I drove him nuts as well. And they tolerated all of that because they say, you know what, they really appreciate what they encountered when they came to Dallas last year, and for that the relationship has gotten that much easier for me to take advantage of. Jelly Madi is also another young and brilliant Gambian artist that's about to perform for you guys live, and I'd like to say special thanks to him as well. I met him when I was in the Gambia. Handsome young kid, brilliant voice, amazing. So thanks to him. For our sponsors, these guys never say no to us. We just call and say, hey, we have an event coming up. We want you to sponsor. Like, go ahead, go for it. Aldi's is our biggest sponsor by far. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because, guys, what I always talk about is this synergy thing that I'm talking about. When we come together and we help and support our own and build them up, right? When we need them, they send that money right back to the community. So if we get Simon to be a millionaire, if we get Ibunjai of Aldis to be a millionaire, if we get Mr. Sau Paboy and team of Sau International to be millionaires, right? If we get Innova RX with, my brother, Mr. Baji there, a millionaire. When we come down to that point when we need a $100,000 check written by all of them, that's $400,000 right there, plus all the other millionaires that we're going to make within this community. So we need to make sure that we, as a community, don't go outside of the community if we need the services that are provided in the community. If someone in our community provides a particular type of service and there's a need for that, we've got to go to that someone before we go outside. Unless that person says, no, I'm busy, I'm fully booked, then you look for another option. Option one should always be that person in your community that provides that service. So huge shout out to our sponsors. Huge thanks to you guys for keeping us afloat. But I'd like to give another special shout out to my exec team. Like, look at this production right here. And I had nothing to do with this. Zero. I'm just a guest, a panelist, like everybody else. The team put all of this together. And it is headed by none other than Mustafa, who's sitting on the ones and twos right now, controlling the situation. He's savvy, IT related. I mean, you name it. He's just ready. And Mustafa, your work is unbelievable. Totally appreciate it. And then LSTV for allowing us to use this platform to air this out for the rest of the world to enjoy, without any glitches so far, knocking on wood. Before I talk about the services that we provide as a GTA, though, I'd just like to take this quick moment to dedicate this entire excitement and all of what is going on here to my stepmother, who passed away a little less than a week ago, last Tuesday. Fortunately, I was lucky enough to spend 3 weeks there and see her right before she passed. I came back a few days later. She was gone, but we thank God. She was up there in age. She lived a great life. It was my dad's second wife. So my condolences. I would like to just dedicate a special moment to her for this. This is usually our biggest fundraising event on an annual basis. We usually come together for the entire weekend and have all sorts of activity, but because of COVID, we're able to bring it to you guys virtually. And it has been amazingly put together so far, right? And all of the money that's going to be gathered here today, from the sponsors and from the donations from the people, along with all of the monies that we have, we just spend right back in the community. So, Bali, to answer your question, one of the things that we've done this year with COVID is that, similar to what Seattle and Atlanta did, we set aside some money to kind of relieve some of the financial burden on some of our community members that lost their jobs and that kind of stuff. So we simply created a link. We had an automatic approval process. You go into the link, you fill up the information. We ask no questions. The only question we would ask is we'd call the person and say, how do you want the money? And they'll tell us, and we'll send them the money. So we didn't ask any questions. You applied, you approved. The great thing about that is that even though we set aside some money, we were able to fund that entire project with money donated from our community members. So the money that we actually set aside, we never touched. We didn't touch it. The community donated money for us to be able to fund these checks that we wrote out to many of our community members. I am so excited about that. And this goes back to what I talk about all the time. When we put our hands together, there just is nothing we cannot accomplish. Zero, nothing we can't do. The sky is not the limit for us. We can't stop there. We gotta keep going. But we set aside money. We didn't have to touch it. So now what we think we're talking through right now as we speak as a exec team, the GTA is working together with the Red Cross. So we are following kind of in the footsteps of Ajara. I went to the Red Cross headquarters while I was in the Gambia, visited with the leader there, Mr. Senghor, and we're putting together a package to help the Red Cross and help people at the Gambia. So we are taking the money that we set aside as a relief fund for all people, which we didn't touch because the community funded that. So we're gonna take that money, some of that money, and spend it over in the Gambia through the Red Cross. So, but to close up Fali, unless you have any other questions for me, I'm going to go right back to my original message that I always talk about. Synergy, guys. When we work together, there is nothing we cannot accomplish. So I don't care how tired somebody is listening to me say that. I'm going to continue to say it until I see it happen, right? So we work together. There's nothing that can stop us. We are a crazy force to be reckoned with. Going back to our small businesses, ladies and gentlemen, if you need a service, if you need a product, and that service or that product is provided by a Gambian near you or elsewhere, give your money to that Gambian business owner. I'm telling you, it comes back and benefits you in the long run. Trust me when I tell you. All right, because the little bit that I did for Simon that he just mentioned, I am benefiting tremendously from that in many ways, personally, and even here, because the fact that whenever we have an event, the guy writes us a check. Whenever we have an event, Ibunjai of Aldi's writes us a check whenever we have an event. Mr. Baji of InnovaRx writes us a check. Whenever we have an event, So International writes us a check. So we're literally just making deposits to those people to then withdraw later, and they keep the interest. That's just how I look at it. So from a selfish standpoint, support your own businesses, support your own friends and whatever they're doing. Just help them out, because later down the road, they will help send that money back to you. Fali, I give it right back to you.
All right, thank you again, Mr. President. Well said. We like the message about unity, and then also just trying to bring all the communities in the U.S. together. So I think this is a good starting point for all of us. Now that I don't have any more questions for you, Mr. President, because I know Mustafa likes to keep us on track. And but what I want to know is that who's excited about the performances that we're about to experience live. I know I am.
Oh, listen, if you guys are not excited, let me excite you right now.
Yeah.
When I was in the Gambia, I was in the studio with Jali Mahdi while he was prepping for this occasion. And then when I was in the Gambia, as I told you guys on multiple occasions and back and forth with Pap, and Pap told me, Dallas, this is exactly what he told me. Bamba, yo Dallas, then you definitely wait till you see what he's got in play for us, man. He's gonna be killing it right now in a little bit. So do not go anywhere. Stay right where you are. But I'm gonna remind you guys too, don't forget, this is a fundraising event. I hope you have that wallet sitting right on the counter with you. Pull out that credit card, log on to the website, www.gtatexas.com. Follow that donate now link, and then donate some money to the GTA. You can also send your money through Zelle using 914-646-7036. You can also do it via Cash App using $GTA Texas. Back to you, Felix.
Thank you again. We're going to have a short break, and we will have IG to moderate this next segment of the program. Thank you again for all the panelists. We truly appreciate the collaboration. Thank you. Stay tuned.
The days of limited access to quality medications and healthcare services are long gone, with InnovaRx Global Health ushering in a new era of healthcare delivery in Africa. IGH now offers an all-inclusive care plan designed to provide a comprehensive management of chronic diseases, such as diabetes, hypertension, and other ailments that require close monitoring and routine medications. Our global clinical team leverages technologies such as point-of-care diagnostics, telemedicine, Agastha cloud-based electronic health record system, and electronic prescription processing of FDA-approved medications to effectively manage patients and produce positive health outcomes. The plan provides a peace of mind to patients in the Gambia and their loved ones who may sponsor from overseas by providing 4 free prescription medications a month, 4 diagnostic tests a year, free Wellness on Wheels delivery from Banjul to Basse, 10% off all products and services, all for a price less than a cup of coffee a day. D, $38,050 a year. Flexible payment options available. Why travel abroad to receive quality healthcare anymore when IGH can bring the quality you deserve to your doorsteps? Sign up today by calling 220-232-4224 or emailing careplans@innovarexglobal.com.
All right, Ajay.
Thank you, Mr. President, GTA. Thank you, Hadi Jallo, Hajira, and thank you, Binta Mane, Northwest Seattle Gambian Association. And also our keynote speaker earlier, Rene Carayo and Famara Singate and Aji Juve, and the panel moderator, Fali Kora. And thank you to our sponsors once again, Aldi, Kalilu.com, Innovax Global Health, So International Associates, and SafeBridge. So finally, we have Jali Madi and Fab Juve performing here live with us. So you may want to sit right and share this video with your family, friends, and network. So now we welcome the amazing Jali Madi with the golden voice. Jali Madi, everyone.
Thank you. Hi guys, we will take about a minute break to switch to get Jalimadi, who is ready to start going live in about a minute or so. At in about 2 minutes at 2:20, we'll switch the platform so we can have live. After Jalimadi, we'll go straight to the Pap Juve, who is also ready, and so we can just have to connect the other platform, which takes about a minute. Thank you, everyone, and we'll be back in about 2 minutes.
Stay tuned.